So lots of innovations was made internally by ourselves, and some strategies people later called is the alternative. But we never thought ourselves as an alternative house. We are just providing the best intelligence and solution for Japan. And now we're trying to extend that to Asian market.
What's the makeup of your investor base? Is most of your investor base located outside of Japan, or do you have also a significant stake of money that you raised from Japanese investors?
At the very beginning, I had to tell my customers, my potential clients, that the only thing that I can do is to do research in Japan and to invest in Japan. And it was very difficult to convince Japanese institutions that I'm better than they are. But I knew that what I would offer is intelligence. So I start going out to convey my message, my philosophy in places like Europe, in some cases Middle Eastern governments, and so forth. And luckily, some clients agreed on what I said, and they offered some capital to manage. So because of that history, SPARX always have more clients abroad than in Japan. We currently manage a little less than $7 billion. Of that, I would say 60 and little more from non-Japanese investment communities. The remaining part is from Japan. I thought Japan would be the growth, but it was not really the case for us. When we grew, it grew together. Non-Japanese and Japanese grew together.
So you also have an operation in Hong Kong. What is your view on the growth and the outlook of the Asian hedge fund industry?
SPARX want to establish us originally as a center for Japan investment intelligence. For the past few years, I was saying we should be the center for Asia investment intelligence. And with this thinking, I start looking into the opportunities outside of Japan. But it is, I realized that difficult to do everything by ourselves. So strategy was to find companies that we can do those things together. And luckily, we found one in Korea, that's Cosmo. And the other one is PMA. And PMA is a pure alternative, in-house alternative house. But Cosmo is very similar to SPARX. They do long-only business, mutual fund, as well as long-short, and some activist type strategies. So they are a mixture of alternative and long-only. But PMA is a pure alternative house. We acquired PMA 100%. Cosmo, by the end of this year, will own 70%. Last year, we sold 30% stake to the group called Lotte. Lotte is one of the largest company group in Korea. They have very strong desire to enter the financial business. They have insurance companies, so forth. And they like to use Cosmo as the base for their mutual fund business. So we'll try to develop it together.
Looking at the demand side, do you see the demand for the types of products that you are offering? Is it increasing? Is it going down?
Well, I think it will increase. After the crisis, people start doing less activities in any strategies. But if you think about it, the financial market, particularly in the area like pension funds, the savings of people, the capital is still there. As long as capital is still there, capital wants to make a higher return. So the services like we can offer is always in strong demand. And at the same time, we are not gigantic operator relative to the capital here. We are a very small company. So it is always the demand that is much bigger than that we manage today. So, you know, we are not trying to be the gigantic financial institutions, but we'd like to be the best. I think our growth potential opportunities are quite promising in Japan as well as in Asia.
I have heard from other members of your executive investment team that you are preparing a launch of a new fund, which is a smart grid fund. Would you like to share with us what this is about, and particularly what is the opportunity that you see in this area?
The biggest problem Japan had today, Japan lost the growth. I've been thinking where the new growth would be for this country. I realized there are two areas that is very promising. One is area for the company that can develop and offer their products and services and technologies in the Asian growing countries. What is happening is the market in Japan is now very rapidly being merged with the market like in China or other Asian countries that is very rapidly growing in their middle class income bracket. Those companies who can offer the products or brand or high quality, safe production technologies are all in very, very heavy demand. But many companies are a bit hesitant to be aggressively entering that market. How we can be catalyst for those companies to penetrate in that growing market is one theme that I'm looking at. I like to work and help them to enhance, to accelerate that trend. The second one is this new renewable technology, green society type of theme. Mr. Hatoyama, new Prime Minister, declared that Japan will reduce their CO2 emission by 25% through year 2020. If you add up how much that will cost, it will be amounted to nearly $2 trillion US dollars. That will be the cost of our taxpayers as well as government. Yet at the same time, the same amount of money will be incorporated as a revenue for some companies. And then with this, if you look at Japanese companies, there are many companies who can provide the technologies, the products to really build this smart grid that is the network that you send not only electricity but also information so that you can control demand and supply in a very intelligent way. It's like an internet network. When you've heard internet, new information age, it is very hard to identify how you can participate in the growth. I think we are at a very similar stage that people cannot figure out where you should invest. But if you look into with this specific view, there are many companies who can be part of this new growing theme under the concept of smart grid. So I thought it is very important first to build the knowledge. Second, to build the infrastructure that we can participate as a financial company, but with the operating network. We successfully become a project manager together with the one company who does operating windmill farm, who is now putting together the pilot experiment, smart grid, in a place called Rokkasha Village in Japan, where Toyota, Hitachi, and Panasonic are now participating. SPARX is one of the project managers that is helping them to think in relation to the financial market. So with this real project, we are gaining lots of knowledge that what company and services, technology will be needed by this smart grid and what they can offer. And with this a little bit advanced knowledge over our competition, we are now trying to figure out which company that we should invest. A fund has already formed, and we are trying to offer this fund to the global network. Overseas investors appears to me that they are a little bit advanced in thinking, because European, I think, as a concept, this concept is not new, although Japan is still very new. So they understand the value of Japanese companies that can eventually offer to this type of new grid. So I'd like to try to communicate this to people, investors abroad.